So hello, Mr. Ramanathan. Thank you so much for joining me on this call and sharing your thoughts.
Namaste, how are you?
I'm
Hope
fine,
everything is
thank
well
you.
with you.
Yes, and with you, is the situation manageable there?
Yes, so far it's okay. We are coming out of the lockdown hopefully by the end of this week.
Good.
Things are under control here, and shops are open, essentials are happening. And honestly, if you go out on the street, it's almost like things are normal because there's a lot of heavy traffic.
I see.
And the only incentive not to go out is the terrible heat. We are at 42 degrees today.
I can imagine. That might be a blessing. Otherwise, it might be even more crowded potentially.
Uh-huh.
So I would like you to tell me, as a listener, if
Right.
concerts were to resume now,
Mhm.
would you attend?
I would definitely. I'm eager to attend because I miss live performances, and I believe nothing can replace the energy of a live performance. But if you were to ask me, would I attend today? I would definitely go to a venue, provided I know that they take the common sense precautions, like whatever the government or the health ministry or the ICMR is saying, those guidelines they are following, and those are very elementary guidelines which anybody with little common sense should be able to follow without a problem. And if I'm pretty confident that the venue is doing those precautions and uh, those common sense steps are taken, then yeah, why not?
Okay. So in terms of expectations, your expectations from the concert organizers, you're looking for some physical distancing perhaps, and are you looking for more like maybe hand sanitizers being provided or something of that effect?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like I said again. I think the key word here is common sense because um, okay, hand sanitizers, distancing, all that is okay, but ultimately, whatever you do, it all depends on the level of common sense the organizer as well as the person who is coming there to listen. It's a two-way thing.
Mm.
Just like you go to a shopping mall or a vegetable market or whatever, you can have all the rules in the world, but unless people are following it, there's no point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
basically, what you're saying is the onus cannot be entirely on the organizer. Also, it also the visiting audience member also has to take necessary precautions.
Yes,
He
yes.
or she can seat themselves
It is
appropriately, get their
it
own
is
mask, and so on.
just like in the pre-corona times or in the normal times, it's a three-way relationship: organizer, artist, and the listener. Uh,
Absolutely.
and a successful event depends on all three. Uh,
Mm.
and there is no one without the other, right?
Right. True enough. True enough. Do you have any changed expectations of artists now that they've had a break? Are you looking for something different from them when they do start performing?
Well, there are multiple ways of looking at it. Honestly, I would hope that this 2 month or 3 month break has given them an opportunity to reflect, to introspect. I hope they have treated it as a welcome break or the breakneck schedules they used to, a little time to introspect on their own art, to do more sadhagam or even just quiet meditation, I would say, or reflection on their art. That would be. I hope that is something that has happened because only then there'll be. I always hope an artist thinks of the long term. Say 50 years from now, how would your art be received, or what is how would you like to be remembered, or what is your contribution to the permanence of the art? So if this forced break, has given people an opportunity, given the artist an opportunity to sit back, reflect, refine, contemplate, um, or think about ways in which once you come out of this whole problem, the energy that you project on the stage, energy that you project to the audience, if there can be some sort of quantitative improvement in that or qualitative improvement in that, why not? I mean, that's what I would be hoping for.
Okay.
But on the other side of it, from what I'm seeing, there are a lot of artists who are still busy. I mean, we are seeing live shows almost on a daily basis. There are some people who come every day on there's something or the other happening. But yeah, I'd rather look at the positives. I hope this is a good break for them to have sat back, thought, done some quiet sadhakam without away from all the noise, away from the traveling, away from the the day in, day out concert schedules.
What are your thoughts on any permanent effect from this profusion of online concerts, this different format taking hold or having taken hold in this brief period of time? Do you see any permanent effect of that in the concert arena itself?
I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be any lasting effect, because after all, everybody is uh, charting. We are all traveling uncharted territory, right? I mean, these are all completely new. Of course, there was web streaming before, there was live broadcast before, but that was mostly from an established venue, from an auditorium or a concert venue or whatever. It is the first time that people are doing it from their own homes or their own wherever they are, and because of that, there are technological limitations because of bandwidth, because of lighting, because of the infrastructure that you have. Everything has an effect, and um, and there is good and bad about this whole thing. It is the technology is a big boon in keeping people connected, but I'm not a big fan of this whole art healing spirituality அந்த மாதிரிலாம் சொல்றதுல எனக்கு பெரிய நம்பிக்கை கிடையாது. Because come on, music or art or everything has had its own healing, its own emotional effect, corona or no corona. Okay, so if you ask me, this new phase of online programs, it is definitely a good thing. I have no quibble with that particular aspect, but what I don't like is I wouldn't like it if this becomes a permanent situation in terms of the quality of the programming, in terms of how the thing is, because for me personally, I'm big on aesthetics. On the concert venue, how the venue should look, what's the kind of, I mean, again, you know me as a photographer too. I look at all those angles of the visual impact, the lighting, and honestly, a lot of the venues, even the regular concert venues, I am not personally happy with the way they present. There's a whole profusion of banners everywhere. It's completely unaesthetic, except for a very few of those locations, and that kind of that shoddiness of presentation is definitely present in most of these amateur locations that we have in these live broadcasts. Of course, that can't be helped in the current situation, but I do hope that doesn't become a permanent feature. But the good thing, or the positives I would take from this is, can we widen the reach of the arts? Definitely, this is technology has always been there, but it needed a situation like this to make us understand the true power of the technology in your grasp.
That is very
especially
true.
For the artists.
True.
As far as the live presentation or live events go, this is again, as an organizer, these are things that have played on my mind for quite a long time, and that too with respect to Carnatic music and South Indian classical arts and dance. The problem that we have, especially in Chennai, is an oversupply. Even in normal times, especially during the season, the 2 months of the season, there is just too many. There's a profusion of programs which is inversely proportional to the number of people. I mean, there is a lot of media hype about the season, but honestly, if you look at it, what would be the core audience of Carnatic music or Bharatanatyam or classical arts, even in a city like Chennai? My bet is not even somewhere. My optimistic count would be something in the range of 15 to 20,000 people, not more than that. Okay, and that is a very small market, a very niche market, a very what can you call it, a focus group. So this is not an industry that can be sustained by gate collections and by attendance alone. We always had a need for sponsorship or endowments or some rich industrialist or somebody to sponsor it, which in this particular situation, post-corona or during this lockdown, sponsorships were already declining in the last 2-3 years, and this is a big hit in terms of support. And there is no way, as an organizer, I can tell you, there is no way you can continue or sustain a series or a concept or a festival on the basis of gate collections alone. That just doesn't happen. It has to be either funded by the organizers themselves, if they have their own personal money, personal resources, whatever, or it should be established institutions who have their own performance venues which they rent out the rest of the year, and there's some revenue from that. And even that takes a hit in this time.
It does. I was just going to say, because sorry to interrupt, I was just going to say, because the professional, the companies or those corporate sponsors that provide you the funds, they are themselves suffering a big hit right now because of this, because industries are not functioning, things are locked up. So at this time, the last thing they would think of might be a sponsorship of the arts, because they are just trying to fill out the bottom line. So this would be a big hit, I would imagine.
No, like I said, for the last 2-3 years, the sponsorship scene has been pretty dismal. We have seen declining support. A lot of the organizations are struggling to host their programs. Last year, even myself, I did not conduct my annual festival Swatantra last year in 2019 because we didn't have enough funding for that. I used whatever surplus funds we had, and we did a few small programs. And I was a part supporter of one dance festival last year. That is about it. So for smaller organizations like me, or people or sabhas like who don't have their own plentiful funding or reserves or corpus or whatever you call that, this is definitely a very difficult situation which cannot be overcome by gate collections alone. So in which case, I hope this is a clarion call to the industry, to the artists, to the sabhas, to and ultimately to the Rasikas also, that this becomes a critical insight or illumination into how bad the situation is and how much real supporters have to step up to the plate to sustain the art. And again, like I said, in the case of, you asked me earlier about the corona question, what would be the expectation, or how would you conduct yourself in the new situation? I would say the same applies even to, it's a three-way relationship between the artist, the organizer, and the Rasika. Everybody has to pitch in. And in that, I would, as an organizer, look for as a first step, a better dialogue between the artist community. There are artist organizations right now. There's a federation of sabhas. So I hope we have a positive conversation and come to some sort of understanding on the number of performances that each artist does, the duration or the gap between, if you're a top-ranking artist, can we have some sort of guideline between when you would perform in Sabha X and how much of a gap would you do before you perform in Sabha Y, which is just across the street? Because that has been a problem. That is, especially in the season, that is a problem.
Right.
Already we have only about, every year there are about half a dozen, maybe 10 real crowd pullers.
Right.
And these crowd pullers are in demand in every sabha.
Right.
So what happens is that, today he sings in Alwarpet, tomorrow in Mylapore, the next day in T Nagar. So, but it's still the same audience, right? Unless you are a member of that sabha, for the greater public, it's still the same audience. It's the same, and ultimately we are all hurting ourselves. So if in the new situation with the funding being such a problem, I hope artists and sabha organizers first come to have a constructive dialogue and come to some sort of understanding. And I think, we can even start off with something as simple as a grading system. I know this can be a controversial topic, but see, if you can agree on something like an AR grading, which is a very commonly accepted standard. There are certain top grade, A grade, B high, whatever. All those categories are there. So if that can be the basis, some sort of grading based on that, and then you come to an IPL sort of understanding, saying number of matches or number of remuneration if you are in a particular contract grade. That sort of a conversation has to happen ultimately for the longevity of this system is what I feel.
So, and if, as you said, we moderate the quantity of concerts in a manner that you just talked about, do you also see the willingness of Rasikas to maybe pay more? Because the vast majority of concerts now, except for the season, is free, at least from the Rasikas' perspective.
Yes. Yes, that is another problem. And again, why have free? Why is this expectation of free? It's again uh, a concert in a temple or a wedding concert. Okay, you can understand it is for an occasion. You don't have to pay, and people coming to the Kovil can, after they finish their Swami Seva or whatever, you can hear the concert. Go ahead. Okay, there is no thing. But I personally I feel this whole culture of the sabhas themselves giving out all our welcome concerts should be gradually phased out. That is again, it is hurting us. It is hurting everybody in the long term. Um, because that expectation is there right now. I'm personally a victim of that. If I schedule a program and I say all are welcome, I can expect a very decent attendance, provided there is no other big conflict of any other programs happening. Uh, of course, there are a lot of factors that affect it, but uh, if there is no conflict, if there is the people do come. But the moment I say there is a ticket, moment I say even there's a 10 rupee ticket, there is a drop. Why is that? Because the same artist who is performing, whom I am presenting today for a ticketed program, he or she may be singing for free in a Kovil or some other organization for free in a nearby location in a near future. So there is no, and this is I also think this is a problem peculiar to Chennai in many respects, because I don't see the same complaint as much from other cities. So probably it's a question of oversupply also.
Right.
Um, and because this expectation has already been built that a lot of content is free, people are not willing to pay. There is an unwillingness. Even if I bring the most popular artist in India, I don't want to name any names, but if I bring even the top crowd puller, the number of people who turn up for a ticketed program is much less than, or substantially lower than how it would happen if I were to offer it free. And that has to change.
And probably
And
free for a mediocre or slightly lesser quality performer also, you might pull in a higher crowd just because it's not ticketed.
Yeah, in my opinion, one of the radical reforms that has to happen, especially in the season, is that every program has to have some sort of contribution from the listeners, even if it's a junior slot. Okay, some maybe a lower rated or lower price season pass, which would give you admission to all the programs of the junior artist. Some sort of thing whereby every person who comes into that hall to listen is making some sort of contribution to the art. Not just say, oh, romba nanna irukku, thank you for organizing. Point irukama. If they can understand that, bringing you a program it requires a lot of inputs, a lot of effort, not just from the organizer. There are a lot of livelihoods that are affected by this, from the musician, the technical crew, the support staff, and again, in many cases, most of these organizations, I don't have too many employees, but there are institutions that have employees. So it's all a question of livelihood, and none of them is getting any money or any income even in the situation.
Right. But
so I hope Rasikas understand that, and a culture of payment comes in.
But do you honestly see the Rasikas turning out for the newer or the younger artists if it starts getting ticketed? What if we have, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you, but your screen froze for a minute.
Yes, yeah, I had your screen freeze many times as well. I suppose it can't be helped. Yeah, it can't. No, that's okay. So my question was, do you see, newer artists, those not yet established, those relatively unknown, getting any kind of audience if it is ticketed? Because we, as it is, have a lot of concerts where there are barely 5 to 10 people sitting.
Yeah.
And if we start charging, so again, do you see the average
that is
Rasika?
Where again no, this is where I think intelligent use of technology can help. The kind of free programs that are happening now, if you can understand the power of the technology as a promotional tool rather than as a broadcast tool.
Okay.
The lesser known people, this is a good time for them to exhibit their talent.
Right.
And then again, if there is a really good artist in that comes up this way, definitely there will be an acceptance. And again, I'm not saying for the junior slot புதுசா வந்து ஒரு குழந்தை வந்து பாடுறான்னாக்கா அவளுக்கு பைசா கொடுத்து வந்து டிக்கெட் போடுங்கன்னு நான் சொல்லல. What I'm saying is that is where those kind of programs can be made open to, at least if you're a Sabha, you can keep it open to your donors, rather than just make it all are welcome.
Okay.
Have some sort of nominal token membership or a token donation that you make for the, say 500 rupees for a month, something from the Rasika side to support this. That's all what I'm saying. Is that impossible? I mean, we go to a movie. Per head, you easily spend 500 rupees for one movie.
Absolutely.
2
Yes.
hours.
Yes.
The cover charge plus your popcorn plus your soda. 500 ரூபாய்க்கு கம்மியா ஒரு சினிமா பார்க்க முடியுமா per head? அது முடியாது. நமக்கு ஒரு சீசனுக்கு ஒரு ஆளுக்கு 500 ரூபாய் கொடுக்க முடியாதா?
Yeah. So what are your personal plans, as you know, now I'm asking from your capacity as also an organizer of arts related events. Are you planning anything, or are you thinking of anything different given what has happened of late?
The question that many people have been asking me throughout the last 2 months is Artery not doing anything online? Are you not doing any of these live webcasts and all? And it is a conscious decision I took not to do anything right now, because I don't know, I still feel that the situation is evolving, and these are all stopgap measures that are going on right now, these live casts and all that. And I deliberately didn't want to get into anything unless we had a little more clarity on how things evolve. So the way I see it, if by God's grace we are able to come out of the lockdown from the 1st of June, then perhaps I will look into the possibility of organizing live concerts at the Artery in my venue in Raipeta, Chennai, probably with a limited audience with enough spread or distancing. Usually my venue seats about 50 to 60 people, so I might end up curtailing that, maybe invite the 10 or 12 people, have them spread out, and perhaps have a paid webcast, a paid live cast, so that people can see. That is my idea right now, but again, that depends on a lot of things. That depends on how we are coming out of this lockdown, how many programs happen. Because if I take all this effort, I do a paid program, a paid ticketed webcast, and somebody else does free programs. I mean, you might be paying the artist, but if you're not taking money from the viewers, or as a donation or as a subscription or something, then I lose. I mean, why would they come? Why would they pay and come to see my content when a similar thing is available for free? So these are things I'm wrestling with. I don't have a conclusive answer to that yet, but this is broadly where I see this going.
Okay.
If we come out of lockdown, I would probably do a couple of programs on an experimental basis, see how it goes, and then refine it. That's the way I see this progressing, at least from my side.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Do you have anything else you'd like to share, either from your perspective as a Rasika or as an organizer?
Not from the perspective as an organizer, but as a Rasika, like I told you, I'm pretty high on the overall the aesthetics, and which I think have been compromised to a great extent in these kind of modern auditoriums and presentation venues that we have today. So I don't know, I would like smaller concerts where, you know, we have more personal interaction with the artists, which is why I personally do micless programs in a chamber space. So Palgad Madiya சொன்ன மாதிரி கை தொடர தூரத்துல இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லுவார் அவர். I mean, that the artist should be within touching distance of that's a whole different experience. And when you hear it without a microphone, I mean, the experience, that instance that comes to mind immediately is a concert I organized of T.N. Krishna Mama. Listening to him in that micless ambience was just out of the world. The tone, the nuances that you hear, everything is different. The same I would even go to the extent of saying that for a dance program also. I mean, because I grew up in Kerala where we have Kathakali performances happening in temple in the night with just a velakku. அந்த விளக்கோட வெளிச்சத்துல மட்டும் so it's and you are sitting on the floor. The visual impact that you have is completely different from what you do sitting in an AC auditorium 10 rows back and you're seeing them up on the stage. There's a complete difference with that. So I hope there is a little more attention paid by organizers, artists, everybody to how these programs used to be presented, a little more homework on that, a little more attention to the aesthetics, the ambience. And as a photographer, I would love that.
Right. I could imagine. Yeah.
Because I'm crazy about capturing artists in candid performance.
Right.
I hate doing studio work. I hate doing modified lighting. In available lighting, in natural circumstances, I love to capture them. That is my passion, which is difficult. Which is challenging. I wouldn't say difficult. It is challenging given the kind of venues that are proliferating all over. There are very few venues, even in Chennai city, where you would love to go and just for the ambience. Oh wow, how it will be. So those aspects as a Rasika, I would like to see. And from artists themselves, I would, like I said before, I would like to see some more attention or some more thought. There are very few artists who do that, who have a long-term perspective of who see themselves 20, 30 years down the line. Where will they be? What is? நம்ம எதுக்கு ஒரு எம்எஸ்எம்மா பத்தியோ ஒரு செம்மங்குடி இப்படி பாடினார் இல்ல நான் பிருந்தாமா கேதாரகோலா இப்படி பிடிச்சா நம்ம ஏன் சொல்றோம்? Because they were immune to all these extraneous. They were not bothered. They had an art. That art spoke for them. It still speaks, and we remember them for that. That sense of posterity, the sense of that you're doing something for the future. 30 years down the line, some junior who's coming up will look up to you for something that you did. You were an example for them.
Sounds good. So I think maybe one takeaway for everyone here could be the fact that little more focus on the ambience and the quality of programming might also help bridge this divide between potentially the perfect sound system of an online program. There have been some online programs where that have been studio mixed and mastered, and then the live ones frequently, as you said, with barely a few exceptions, the sound is less than ideal. So by a little more focus on the ambience, the sound and other things in concerts, perhaps by reducing frequency, we might be able to bridge that divide between the liking for the studio sound versus the lovely atmosphere of a live concert, but with so many other unnecessary distractions, so to speak.
I would again like to characterize that as intelligent use of technology. There is so much available at your command, at your disposal right now, whether it is audio, video, amplification, lighting, everything. There is so much available, but blindly applying it, like a sledgehammer doesn't work.
Right.
Intelligent use for the kind of art that we have, the kind of instruments that we use, for the kind of voice production that is there in our music. If sound engineers and visual production people can apply their mind more to that and make it more wholesome, make it more elegant, make it more aesthetic, we'd all be much better for that, won't we? And I hope this break, this interregnum, this forced corona interval gives us that kind of a chance for introspection, not just for the art, but also for the presentation of the art.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for being a part of this series. And
my pleasure, Lakshmiji.
Your comments have been particularly valuable because not only are you an intelligent Rasika, you have your hat as a photographer and as a curator of very thoughtfully handled artistic events. So I truly appreciate your input. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.